Welcome to the About That Wallet podcast show number 32, Humble Beginnings with Rome. In this episode, a lot was talked about with Rome. We actually got through seeing how it is to have a dream and to see that dream be so far in reach to not be achieved, and actually understand his passion to not give up on his dream, but also to not give up on his family, and to understand how the importance of understanding where you come from does not determine on where you're going to end up, because you can set your goals as far as you want to. You just have to be specific on what you want and how you want to achieve it. And this is one of the stories that Rome has shared with us today. And I cannot thank him enough for taking the time out to do that. He has so much passion for what he does, who he is as a man, as a husband, as a father. So let's dive into this. I don't want to hold you up any further. Again, for those of you who are new to the show, I want to thank you, as this show is about understanding how people actually navigate life and understanding what are those issues and those strategies for the people that are stuck. These are my episodes are actually set up to find or give you other tools through other people's experience on how to get out of the situation that you're in, or if there is something that you're interested in, how to start it and actually flourish when you decide to take that first step into this new realm in your life. So again, I want to thank you. Please subscribe and continue to share with your friends and family. I do appreciate it all, and I do love the feedback. So if you do have a moment, please leave a comment at the end of the show, um, either on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. All right, so let's get to it. Welcome to the About That Wallet podcast show. How you doing today, Ron?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing all right. What about you?
Doing pretty good, sir. It's a lovely Sunday right now.
Yep.
Weather's still cold and chilly. I actually did a bike ride yesterday.
Did you in this weather, bro?
Man, my toes were
Boy,
cold, fingers were cold, everything.
not
Um,
having it.
but when you have people out there in the realm, it's a lot easier to get out there and put the clothes on and just muscle through. Versus if it was by myself, nah, I wouldn't be doing it.
Listen, man, more power to you, bro. As soon as it gets under 40, I'm miserable. So
uh,
not having it.
yeah. So the main reason why, actually, I think you and I, we talked about coming onto the show today to talk about your life journey. And I think that would be interesting to kind of go through to see what you've been through growing up and what led you to where you are today, even through your mindset, because, us as adolescents, we didn't really, take things seriously that we hear from our parents and, all our uncles or whoever the adults were around that time. It's like, yeah, y'all just doing your thing. So what was it? So can you just tell me a little bit about your money history and the type of conversations that you guys had growing up, you and your parents?
Sure. I mean, to understand the person and to understand my money history, you would probably have to understand a little bit more about me with regard to where I'm from, what I've been through.
Mm,
So I currently live, of course, in the United States. I was born and raised in Jamaica, St. Andrew. It's that city right next to Kingston that no one knows about. It's the New Jersey of Jamaica, right? And I came up in humble beginnings. So when you say, "Hey, Rome, what money conversations did you have growing up with your parents?" It was, "I don't have any money. You got to figure this out." That's the kind of money conversations we had.
mm,
I had my situation growing up was I would take the evening shift at school so that my brother could take the morning shift. That way I could have his shoe to wear to school when he gets home.
mm,
Humble beginnings. it was a situation of making sure that, you were on the program at school to get lunch. There were plenty of times when parents couldn't find lunch money to send us to school, but we still fought through it. Thank God for my grandmother. She never made us go hungry. And you grow up in the Caribbean, there's always somewhere for you to go get food. And, it's most of our food are natural, whether it's going down to the woods and digging some yams up, so humble beginnings, definitely. And some of the things that's made me into who I am are the things, my experiences that brought around my money decisions that I make today are obviously my experiences growing up in Jamaica. I was always into sports, track and field, mostly soccer, which brought me to the United States on a scholarship for undergrad. I did my undergrad at Coppin State University, went over to Morgan State, did my master's at Morgan State. And one of the first lessons that I learned when I got to Coppin was from an English teacher. And this was my first lesson in economics. And he said, and I'll never forget, your credit is what makes you into a man. And I asked him what he meant by that. And he was like, you will get nothing in this country without having good credit. Granted, this was my first time in this country. I had known no one. I was 20 something years old, and I had to take those hard lessons. He said, once you're able to get yourself a credit card and use that one credit card, buy one thing every month, pay it off every month, and watch your credit skyrocket. You stay up in your bills and you'll be perfectly okay in this country. And I've used that lesson every day since I've been here in 2010. Since I've been here, I'm married, I have a child, 2 degrees, 4 or 5 jobs, and now I'm settled in my career, which is absolutely awesome. And I'm now beginning to see the fruits of my labor over the years. And so my money decisions are based on my past, right? I use my history or my experiences to guide my decisions. I'm not the one who's going to go out there and be gallivanting and buying everything that I see,
Yeah.
So it's all about me putting the groundwork in, setting myself up, setting my family up for a future. So that's what guides my money decisions.
Yeah, because I know you said humble beginnings, but when you said you did the morning shift, so your brother did the evening shift, is that how school was over there, where you can do different shifts like that?
Not necessarily, not in all schools. Okay. My school, that was an option. And the reason why we took that option was because it's not because I wanted to go in the evenings, but because me and my brother shared one pair of shoe at a time. And so instead of me walking to school barefooted, they just waited until he got back home. His foot was always bigger than mine, obviously. So we had this thing where we would take newspapers and stuff it at the top of the shoe. If you speak to any Jamaican that grew up in those days, they will tell you, you put some newspapers in the top of the shoe and stuff your foot in there and it fits perfectly. You go to school.
Wow.
Those are the days.
Yeah. Talk about some humble beginnings.
Yeah.
So, so were your parents, because I know you mentioned your grandparent. So were your parents mainly in the picture, or how was that?
My mom worked as a psychiatric aid nurse. Fun fact, she used to say, she had 5 of us. She used to say she had more trouble at home than she did with the crazy people at work. But no, my mom worked as a psychiatric aid nurse, so she wasn't always there. She was about anything in the medical field, they're always on the job. My grandmother was a caretaker of our family. She took care of all 5 of us while we were there. So my fondest memories would come from my grandmother in terms of being a child and being cared for. My dad and my mom were never together. I think I was a product of a good night. But we were all in the same community. I had a stepfather who, in hindsight, was absolutely brilliant in terms of moving our family from the level that we were to a higher level in terms of comfortability, where we live or living environment, stuff like that. He was essential. At first, I didn't like him, obviously,
Right.
but as a grown man now, looking back, I could tell that what he did was essential in our family, surviving those times. My dad always tried. He was someone that did odd jobs in the community, always encouraged me to do well. But I think I said my mom wasn't there at much, but she was the backbone in me getting to where I am today. She never discouraged me from going to the track meets, trying out for different soccer teams. The biggest thing in Jamaica is that you have to fund anything that you do. So if your school is taking you to a track meet across the country, you have to make sure you give your kid money to do so. They had, but getting me a pair of spikes so I could run in. Because there are a lot of times I was out there running against kids in spikes and I was barefooted, still competing.
Wow.
I remember there were times the night before the track meet, she would say she doesn't have the funds to give it to me. And I would go to bed crying. And the next morning she would be waking me up at 5 a.m. You got to get ready because I thought I got the money for you. So she would go to the lengths to make sure I did what I wanted to do. At the time, she didn't see it as an investment because her son was going to be the greatest. Her son was going to eventually run against Usain Bolt or, get a scholarship. She saw that as her giving me what I needed in order for me to be happy. And that's what made me happy at the time. And throughout all the discouraging, all the negative words I would get, or why are you doing this? You're not going to be any better than anyone else. She kept pushing and it brought me to where I am today. So she was definitely the backbone.
Nice. So what would you say to your mom right now when you actually listen to this episode?
Oh, why haven't? What would I say to her right now? I don't think I can put it in words. Mom, it's time for you to sit back, take a breath, because what you have done for me and for my brothers and sisters merits what will be coming to you, what we have, the work that we have done to make sure that you live a peaceful and long and lovely retirement, because that's the plan. It's going to make sure that it's time for her to relax and enjoy the fruits of her labor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Jeez. Talk about dedication, to make sure you get everything for your children. Are you doing the same for your child now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. From a very young age, I made a decision that I'm going to make sure that I put myself in a position to provide what my kid needs at a young age, stuff that I wasn't able to get. And it's not because of any fault of my parents that I wasn't able to get it. Circumstances allow that. It's not their fault I wasn't born, in New York. But I do know that now that I have the opportunity, I can make sure that my son is set for the future. So, and that's not me buying him a Bentley, but that's me making sure that he can have a house when he graduates. He can have a car when he leaves high school. You know what I mean? He can have his future set up. Me giving him every skill that I have, physically and mentally, so he can be prepared. I want to make sure that he sets himself nicely so he can go to school and do his 2 degrees, do all his degrees for free, like I did. So that's just me setting him up for the future.
Yeah, man. It's awesome that you didn't let the situation hold you down from where you really wanted to go, and that your mom saw beyond where she's currently at to take it to the next level, and that you actually took the platform that your parents had put in place for you to get you where you are today. So how is that now? I mean, I know you said that you started learning about the finances here in the States, but I actually think that, coming from a sports arena helps you out, carve your future, because you already know that you've got to put in the work during practice. You have to win during practice in order for you to win in any match. Because I was wrestling, so I understand from training aspect, it's a lot of training.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that my mom got me during that time was the cleats. I mean, not really cleats. The shoes, that the wrestling shoes, and
Yeah.
that's the only thing that she got me during that time. And I think I kind of scrounge around to get my own money for my little singlet that we have, but unfortunately, because in the city schools, it's like you can't keep the items because everything is shared.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
once you
yeah.
get it, you gotta pass it on to the next, I guess, the next generation that's going to be there, and just kind of hope for the best.
Right.
Um, so it's actually cool that you took that time to incubate your mindset and just knew that you chased after what you wanted to do. I'm over here bragging about you, like, like because you came through so much, and it's just irritating to see, people who are following the paths that their parents have done so much to try to make sure that they have the best, and then the kids just kind of follow right behind it instead of taking what they have and grow. So what got you into that mindset to say, you know what, I'm not want to stay here in Jamaica, I want to go to the States? Where did that come from?
Well, I cannot pinpoint a time when I said to myself, I'm gonna get up and go to the States. I've always been intrigued with being able to do better and do my best. And if I will tell you the story of how I actually got into the States here, and it's a very funny story. But I was going into college in Jamaica. I was going to a physical education. I was going to GC Foster College, which is a school that trains physical education teachers and science teachers to go around the country and be PE teachers. It's the school that attracts the best athletes in the country on multiple disciplines of sport. And you will go there specifying in your own discipline, but you'll become a PE teacher, which you'll be branch off in different schools in the country. And at the time, I had no idea that this was an actual vehicle where colleges across the world, especially in America, would go there and scout potential student athletes. I had no idea. I had no clue what I was going to do at that point. I just knew that after high school, I was going to prove half my community wrong because I was going to play soccer every Sunday in my community. I was still running. I was still doing my soccer in high school. And all I would get was the negative Nancy saying, hey, why are you doing this? Because growing up in Jamaica, you had two options in my community. You had to go bad and go to jail, or you do sport, trying to make something out of yourself. And they have this saying that everyone comes out of the womb running in Jamaica, and it's absolutely true because track and field is very popular, and we do all the biggest event in the country every year is the Boys and Girls Championship in high school. And so to make a long story short, in my almost third year in college, I came to the States on a work and travel program, a program that allows me to come here, work for the summer, representing my college, and then go back and finish up my year. I was working in Towson, Royal Farms in Towson. I'll never forget. One day I came home and I got a call from my coach in Jamaica. He was like, you got 3 offers. I'm like, offers for what? Because I didn't know what he was talking about. It's like, I just got off the phone and I got 3 offers for you. You have a scholarship in North Carolina A&T, one at Texas A&M, and another one at Coppin State University. I'm like, okay, what are they offering? Well, Texas A&M and North Carolina A&T offered me a half scholarship for soccer. I was like, okay, you get a half scholarship and you pay the other half. And it's like Coppin State is offering you a full scholarship. And that one is for track and field. And of course, you can go and be a part of their intramural soccer program. And I'm like, okay, so where is Coppin State? It was like, it's in Baltimore. I'm sorry, what? I'm actually in Baltimore. So it is nothing short of a miracle, to be honest with you, that I just got on a bus, got up to the school, met the coach. There was a bunch of Jamaicans on the team already, which made me a whole lot more comfortable being a part of that environment. Those guys took me around and showed me. Before you know it, by that August, I was back in Jamaica at the embassy working on my student visa. And by the end of August, I was back here. So it wasn't something that I was planning on doing. It was just that it came about by me focusing on being me. It came about by me doing what I wanted to do, was just run track and play soccer. At that point, I had stopped doing the 100 meters and the 200 meters because of Usain Bolt.
he
Dead
crossed.
ass. Yeah, we went to the curve to trials, and he was in the 200 meters, and he just right by all of us, and I was like, I just know I'm going to do this. So I changed my event to the long jump, and that's what got me the scholarship.
Nice. Because I did see that you held the long jump track record in Coppin since 2010 to 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Congrats.
I still have it to this day. They haven't broken it. It's an
Uh,
outdoor record.
oh, they didn't bring it?
No, they haven't broken it yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might have to look that up.
And I got Sportsman of the Year in 2012 too. They give it to some. You have to have top performances, and your GPA has got to be up there for you to be considered. So I got Sportsman of the Year. The Eagle Award is what they call it in 2012. Yep.
Man, that is awesome. Yeah. So when it comes to your work ethic, I know that you played the sports. Did you actually go to work while you were at Coppin?
Coppin, no. So just a little bit of an insight as a student athlete or an international student, you're not able to work outside of school. So what I was working, yes, but I worked for a program at Coppin State called the Freshman and Male Initiative Program, where they would choose seniors or juniors to be mentors for freshmen. This program was designed to help with retention in young men in the college. Coppin had a reputation of people coming into the school and just leaving, failing out after a year, a couple of months, just not coming back. And so the program was designed for, seniors, juniors to be mentors to freshmen and just guiding them into the difficulties that they'll have throughout the first year or so in their college careers. And that was my work throughout.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, because during then, I mean, were you thinking of trying to be an entrepreneur, or were you just thinking of like just working the best way you can while you're here in the States?
So I didn't have an entrepreneur train of thought when I was in college. I didn't have much thought about what I wanted to do when I first got into college. It was all about going pro. I wanted to be a pro soccer player. So that was my biggest push. I got very close to it, got an opportunity to do a trial at DC United at one point, and that was a point when I graduated from Coppin, and I had an offer to do my master's. So I was caught with a decision to make. Do your master's or go ahead and try out for DC United. The risk behind me trying out for DC United and passing up on this offer was that I was still an international student, and the restrictions that comes with being an alien in the United States would still follow me had I go on and try it out for DC United and not make it or get an injury, then I'll be stuck. So I decided to take the other route and do my master's. So that started to push me towards being in business. And then I decided to come up with a plan to be in law enforcement. I've always wanted to be in law enforcement. And so my decision was do your master's, go ahead and after your master's, join the National Guard, get training there, and go join the FBI. That was my aim. Mm-hmm. That was the game.
So what, I mean, I know you mentioned soccer several times, and I'm sure DC United isn't like your favorite team. So what's your favorite soccer team? Or as the rest of the world would say, football team?
There you go. There you go. Thank you for that. I've been struggling over here saying soccer this entire time, but yeah, my favorite football team is Manchester United. They're based in England. I have a YouTube channel that's focused, just started it recently, that's going to be focused on Manchester United and the English Premier League. Because I've moved into a more stable career now, I've had a lot more time to focus on stuff that I like outside of the job, right? So this YouTube channel is focused on football and the English Premier League, and of course, Manchester United, which if I can have a bad week, and the reason why I'm having a bad week is because they lost over the weekend. Good news is they won today like 6-2, so I'm happy.
Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because I don't watch sports unless I'm actually betting. That's the only time I watch,
Yeah.
and it's very rare that I bet. So, you know, when it comes to football or any type of sport, I'm actually completely lost. Uh, Especially with the world football, I have no clue of how it happens. I just know you got to get the ball into the goal, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. Dude, I get livid when my team loses. I watch, I don't bet.
Hmm.
And the reason why I don't bet is because one of the things I grew up watching my father gamble. And
Mm,
I made a decision from a young age that I was not going to take up any of those traits that he has that I see as unbecoming. You know what I mean? Like he smoked a lot. I don't smoke. I know it's rare for you to hear a Jamaican doesn't smoke, but I don't. um, I don't gamble.
okay.
I I never have, never will. It's because I grew up without. I don't feel like I should be putting my money at risk like that. When I have it, I need to put it to good use. Um, and I understand the value of some people saying, "Hey, this is a risk, but the reward might be, you know." But for me, is that I'm not going to take that risk. I know how hard it is to come about. I know what it is to be without, and so I'm going to use my money at good use. I'd rather give it away to someone than gamble it. To be honest with you,
I mean,
that's where
that's
I'm at.
pretty much what most people are doing when they're gambling anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so much money. Because as I come across a lot of people that are internationals, their views of finances are completely different um, than most people that are already here in the States. And you always hear of most people would actually, they don't trust the bank to the point where they actually just save everything.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, most people have, uh, from an international standpoint, I'm just thinking of like you have multiple families with inside the home as they come into the States or get introduced to the States and so forth. Um, so it's actually pretty good that you, again, I mean, these are traits that you've taken and saw in your parents that you did not want to prolong for yourself. So are there any lessons that you want to try to convey to your children or to your child right now?
Yeah, not children yet.
Got it.
Oh man, there's so many things.
You're listening to the About That Wallet podcast. We'll be right back after these messages. If you are enjoying this episode or finding anything useful, please consider leaving a review on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere on the internet. It is one of the best ways you can help new listeners find me, such as yourself. You can always support this podcast by going to patreon.com/aboutthatwallet or anchor.fm/aboutthatwallet.
Number one, I want to make sure that he's able to play football without a shadow of a doubt. I keep throwing things at his head. You saw the video where I kicked the ball at him, right?
Yes, I did.
So that's the main thing for me. Now, but all kidding aside, he has to know the value of her, know the value of everything that he has. Meaning, you have to work for everything that you have. And then once you've done that, you know the value of you gaining that, then you'll be able to treat it better. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna make sure that my work ethic, and that ability to see things, work for it, get it, and don't just stop and look back and say, yes, I've done that, but start pushing on to the next one is what I want to make sure that he has. Because sitting on your laurels will get you this far, but it won't get you to where you need to be. That for me is the biggest thing. Um, we've all we've all met difficulties in our careers, personally, professionally, mentally, but it's how you attach that. So if any lesson that I would like to pass on to him is, it's not how you fall, but it's how quickly you get back up. And that is a mantra that I live by day in, day out. And that's what I want to make sure you understand. And it works in so many different aspects of your life, in so many different areas that you can use that mantra to carry on and push on. When you set goals, you set SMART goals, as everyone keeps talking about, but not just set them, right? But once you've done that, you cross that one out and set another one, and you keep working on it. And that's what keeps you motivated. That's what keeps you going. Finding that intrinsic drive, that motivation to go forward. I know what mine is. I have to make sure that he knows what he has, that drive, whatever that motivation is that pushes him. I know for me, my drive is to do better, is to make sure that I do well for my mom.
Okay. Yeah, because that was actually going to be my next thing. It's like, what is your drive? So what is it about your drive for your mom that keeps you going? Like, what do you mean for your mom?
It's my desire to make sure that the sacrifices that she made doesn't go unseen. You know what I mean? I need to make sure that she gets the reward for the sacrifices that she's made, for not just me, but for my entire family. My entire family is in Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm first generation for everything. So they're looking to me to set that tone. But I'm looking at me to make sure that by the end of this all, she can be set back, bills free, worry free, and just living her life, getting that reward for the sacrifices that she made. That's my drive. So don't just settle on getting her a house and making sure that she has a house to retire in. Make sure that she has the financial means to kick back. You know what I mean? Making sure that she could say that all the work that she's done has been richly rewarded, so that when she goes to heaven, or she can smile and say she had a comfortable life because she did her duties with her kids. That's the main thing for me.
Nice. So I know we didn't talk about your wife that much, but it's time to talk about her. Does she have the same drive as you do? You seem pretty driven.
She does. The thing is, my wife was born and raised in Jamaica as well.
Okay.
A funny thing is, she grew up in the same community that I went to school in Spanish Town, but I didn't meet her until I got here. It's crazy. But yeah, she just started school to do her master's in public health, which is, by God, the perfect time to do a public health master's degree.
Perfect. Yeah.
And she was even talking last night about doing a doctor's degree, and I was like, yeah, you go for it. But I secretly don't want her to, because I want to get mine first. No, but she's planning on doing her PhD, which is awesome. She's the type of person who, throughout the time where just before her pregnancy, or our pregnancy, and throughout that period after her pregnancy, she was adamant that she wanted to get back to school, and to the point where it would get her miserable if something didn't go right. She would be upset if something didn't go right in terms of her getting into school. So she really wants to do well. She wants to get in her career, and she has been in that realm of alien moving towards permanent residency, like student, international student to permanent residency. She has been there in a longer period than I was. So that transition, or that period, limits you a whole lot. The government has, rightly so, immigration laws that prevents you as an alien from doing certain things, working and stuff like that, moving freely, etc. And so she was in that period, and you could tell that because of the restriction that it allows you, it doesn't allow you to push too much far in society in terms of access to work, making the amount of money you want to make, building your credit, which was the biggest thing. And so I could tell that that period was very difficult for her, because when you want to do well and those shackles are just holding you down, but the moment those shackles got off, she just started soaring, and I could tell that she's going to go far. She's already making links she's working for the transition team for the mayor of Baltimore, which is absolutely awesome. So she's making connections there. Absolutely awesome young lady, and I'm proud to be her husband, honestly.
Yeah. So what drew it, like when y'all were dating? So what drew you to her? Did y'all even have financial conversations, or just kind of like, hey, I like you, you like me, I like ice cream, let's go?
We actually met at my boy's cookout. You know, Caribbean people are always cooking out and she's inviting people over, but it's a little bit different when it's our conversations about our money conversations. We're not necessarily. I think those type of conversations are what really brought us closer together. Now that you've mentioned it, now that you put it that way, because it was always about my plan, her plan, what we plan on doing for our future, how do we plan on having a future, the type of future we're planning on having. Most of the conversations didn't necessarily surround us two because we were just dating. I'm like, I'm not going to commit to having a, I'm just
Right.
dating you right now. But as we evolved over a period of time, we started realizing that we had the same goals. Her biggest thing at that time was to become a doctor and making sure she can start a private practice back in Jamaica. That's the type of drive that she has. My thing was I need stability. I need to make sure that I'm financially stable so that I can make sure my mom is financially stable.
Mhm.
And we used to lay down all our plans. I told her about me wanting to join the FBI, the reason why I joined the National Guard, all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that I could, you know, do something in society and become something of myself. And because of the restrictions that we both had at the time, in terms of, as I said, being an international students and all, those at that time those plans seemed far fetched and like pipe dreams. But eventually, you put your stall down and you start working at it, and you can see step by step you start chugging at it, and you'll eventually achieve them.
Yeah, because I always ask about how the conversations happen early on, because a lot of people wait until after they marry to start being fully naked, financially naked, of whether their desires are and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's good that you guys had done it early. So who started the conversation?
Um, it was mostly her. She's always had, because she's always talking about the current situation that she was in and how she cannot wait to get out. One of the things that you can tell really irks her feelings really is when she looks at our society and she sees that she's not able to do certain things. She's not able to apply for a government job, or she cannot apply for the state. But there are others who are out there who has the ability to go to school, to get those grants, to graduate from school and go work and to become something, but they chose not to.
Mhm.
She looks at our community, the Black community, and she sees all these opportunities that are available, and she's livid because people are not taking it, but those opportunities are not yet available to her at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the type of things that drove our conversations about what she would do, the things that she would do if those things become available. And now we're finally starting to see the fruits of those plans. As I said, she's starting school now. As soon as she's done with that, she's thinking about doing her master's and such. And those type of things, those are the type of things that drove our conversations, talking about what we would do in terms of, okay, we just got our house this year. We bought our home together. What we're going to do afterwards, start working on, gaining real estate, which will grow our wealth. You know what I mean? Those are the conversations that we had, just blowing it out, just blowing here, having conversation in the bench somewhere in the park, but now it's becoming reality. You know what I
Nice.
mean?
Yeah. So now that y'all are married, do y'all still have those like money dates where y'all start planning forward, or like how frequent are those money conversations that you guys are having?
So we've just got this home, just got our first home. So our money conversations now, honestly, are going around our bills, making sure that we have the mortgage set every month and stuff. But we've lately started talking about some of the things that we would like to do moving forward. How we'd like to invest. I know I spoke to you about learning more about that investment portfolio
Yep.
and all that stuff. And these are some of the things that we've been talking about, some of the things that we can do with this home. What we will do when you're starting from moving to another home, and what we'll, if we will sell or keep, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, we've talked about learning more about investing in real estate. We've talked, so there, we brought up the options, but because we've just got into this position where we're new homeowners, 3 years in our marriage, what are we doing now to set ourselves up for the plans that we're putting in place? And so that's where we are in terms of the planning phase. But we have conversations here or there when they're not fighting about what show to watch on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your job ever have like a money fight or like a disagreement?
No, not really.
That's good.
I've never had a money fight with her, to be honest with you. We've never fought over funds. We've never fought over where we think the money should go or whose money is this. We don't have, like you have some marriages that people talk about how much money they're making, how much money the other one is making. We've never really had that because it's always been our money type stuff. And it's because we've always been reliant on each other for one way or the other. So the moment we got married and the moment our financials got intertwined, it was always the money's there, so we got to use it whichever way. She was the one who dealt with my money when I was away in basic training.
Oh, that's ultimate trust right there.
Right, and she was my girlfriend. She was my girlfriend at the time, and
right.
she would pay all my bills. I wasn't able to get everything automatic, the automatic payments or everything. So she made sure my credit card was paid on time. She had access to my bank account, and she was just my girlfriend at the time. So, and by that time, the Army was just flowing funds in my account when we were at basic training. So I had a level of trust for her that I didn't have an issue with leaving her with all those with my money to control. And since then, we never looked back. It's never been an issue about money for us.
So did you guys talk about combining funds before you're married, or was this after you're married y'all decided? Matter of fact, did y'all even combine y'all funds now?
Yeah, so
like one can get?
It was never like an option, like a conversation. Do you think we should? It was always implied that was going to happen. Like as soon as we got married, I have a bank. She had another bank. I like, okay, which one do you want us to put the funds in? So I was like, okay, let me talk to my HR, because 95% of my funds are going into our account, and then 5% is going to go into my other account so that I can have some miscellaneous stuff or maybe savings.
Right.
But that's where our funds go. So we both have access to that. It was never, and even now we're planning on switching over to Navy Federal from what we have now. And because of my military access, I have access to Navy Federal. We just set up a checking account. She just finished her application on it. So pretty soon all our funds are going to go straight into Navy Federal. And basically that's how we are. We've never been a conversation of, do you think we should? Because once you get married, there's no more hiding your funds, right?
To some degree.
I feel from because we've been so reliant, and I think it's because of our history and where we're coming from. It's not just a marriage, but it's a partnership, knowing that we both need each other to survive. You know what I mean? And far be it for me to tell her she can't do her nails, use a card to do her nails, because there's no funds in the account. There's money in there. Go right ahead. I don't care whose paycheck was higher this week or that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but you already said it's like 95 and 5%. So does she do the same thing, or she does 100% into that same account, or does she does 95 and?
So I think she because we have a couple of accounts that we put money into the savings.
Oh, okay.
So I got Bank of America that I put some in there. I had CQ that I put some in there as well, and everything else goes into like the Wells Fargo. And she does that as well, or she would physically take the money out and put in the savings account. But in terms of like her having a hidden account somewhere, unless you're telling me to go check.
Right.
Nah. So
No.
yeah.
As long
So
as the main bills are covered, you
let
should.
me say this. Let me say this legal way. And because my lawyers have just advised me,
Right.
to my knowledge,
To your knowledge.
I have no idea if she has some stray account out there somewhere. But hey, you can't really put it past him, can you?
No.
Even then, to be honest, I would not be upset.
Right.
I would not be upset.
Yeah, because me and my wife, we have ours completely separate.
Do you?
Yeah, it's not a trust thing. It's just more so. I don't know. It just works for us. And plus, with me growing up, and my mom and my dad weren't together, but my mom did marry some guy, and then they got a divorce, and then she's married again. And it's kind of like, if she had combined finances, what would it take for her and everything that she had to go through to try to break out the joint accounts, and then also seeing what she had to do to change her name back to her maiden name after the divorce, and then get it changed again for the next marriage. And it's just, so seeing what my mom been through is kind of like one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, I'll just keep it myself, you keep yours, and we'll just kind of make sure the core bills are paid for and stuff like that. So it's good to get a different perspective of what you like to have it combined that way.
Right. And from my point of view, what you just said could definitely work for you guys, and that's absolutely awesome. When we have those type of conversations, or we see those type of topics come up between friends, our perspective and is that I think that's planning for failure. You know what I mean? That's basically saying, okay, let's do this, and if it doesn't go right, then we'll be fine. I have a child with her, so I have no option but for it to go fine. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I would not let another man raise my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And she's stuck with me regardless, because she now has my child, which is the best thing that ever happened to me. So I'm going to right. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this goes the right way. Right. So I'm going to stay away from temptation, because we're all human beings.
Yep.
So I don't make friendships with females that goes further than hi, hello, are you doing okay? You good? All right, cool. You know what I mean? Because that leads into stuff like that. I make sure that I don't have any other avenue to, if I get upset, I can say, oh shoot, I can go there then and chill. You know what I mean? Because those small things gives you the option when you think there's no other option. You see what I'm saying? So I make the sacrifices on my end to make sure that I have a proper future with her, and not. And I get it. Money is a main driver in divorce. Yep. All the time, and that could stem from me losing my job, and then we know I have no more funds anymore, or me getting jealous if she started making a crap ton more money than I do, which works perfect in this sense. If you think about it, let me humor you for a second.
Okay.
If you and your wife have the same account, and she'd start making more money than you can spend more money, bro.
Yep.
But vice versa, if she's making more money than you got separate account, and you swipe your card one day, and it declines, you ain't gonna be like, "Hey, can I borrow your card?" Nah. So hey, just some food for thought. I'm just saying.
Right. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to the finance, I know you guys are combining it. I'm gonna just kind of move on to the third segment of the show, which is the futures. And when it comes to your finances and your child, do you guys have like a 1049 plan or anything like that set up for his college, or what do you guys plan for that financially?
Well, my main plan, and it's, call it facetious all you want, but my main plan is to make sure he goes to college for free, like I did.
I like it.
So I'm going to put in the work, which I've already started, and making sure that he has all the skills, which it comes with, nurturing in whatever talent I know God gave him that comes from me in playing soccer and running track. Mm-hmm. So I've been nurturing that as much as I can. And one of the things that, because I know what it takes to do so, I've been trained on being a coach. I know the sport myself and I play the sport myself, so I should be able to give him the background to do so. But that's just me being a dad.
Right.
But yeah, so we've already come up with certain things that we wanted to make sure that we have in place. We already have a fund set up for him that's gonna, raise equity for his college eventually. I'm hoping I don't need it. As I said, I want him to go to college for free. We've spoken about making sure that there are certain things in place that we could pass on to him so that even after college, he'll be set. So let's say he gets out of college and doesn't have a student loan, right?
Right.
That means that now he's out of college, he can now move into a home that was passed on to him by his parents, which now he doesn't even have to worry about a mortgage.
Right.
Which means now that your kid is out of college, doesn't have to worry about a mortgage, already has a car, all he needs to focus on is getting a job and building his own wealth moving from there, which is one of the things that's been holding us down as a society, in my point of view. We weren't able as Black people to pass down our wealth to our kids because in some cases we didn't have that wealth. Right. But we don't know the value of certain things. We would go ahead and get a car, a Corolla, paid off, and then 4 years later we're selling it to get a new one. Not knowing within that 4 years your 14-year-old son is now 18 and he could use a car.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that takes so much pressure off of him worrying about transportation, but now he can worry about passing his classes.
Right.
You know what I mean? We for too long we've sat there and watched other people pass on their wealth to their kids, to their offspring, but we're just sitting here not knowing that we have wealth in so many different ways that we're not passing it on. Right? And so that's our plan, was to make sure that we build such wealth and pass it on so that when he gets out of school, even if he's burdened with student loans, he still doesn't have to worry about paying rent because he has a home that we've already paid for. And maybe he could rent it out and get money that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like the plan. Love it, actually. Yeah, because I had to buy my first car. It's like $800.
Exactly. How many times have we seen white kids in high school pulling up with their father's old Chevrolet from 1920?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man. So talked about your son a little bit. Just kind of move on to you and your wife. Like, so what do you guys see each other? I know you mentioned a little bit as far as she becoming her doctorates. Yeah. And for yourself, what do you really see for yourself in the future?
So I really want to.
Well, let me limit your future here. Let's say 5 years out.
5 years out.
Yeah.
For 5 years out, I want to be able to do one of two things. I need to finish my PMP or get a PhD. That's the 5-year plan right now. I'm seeing myself doing something on sports psychology. Again, sticking to what I've been doing all my life, which is sports. But I wanted to get that type of experience to pass it on. What I mean by passing it on is once I've gained that knowledge that I need in terms of sports psychology, I'll be able to do that and pass it on to young athletes back in Jamaica, and to a further extent, reach out to athletes outside of my current zone here, but into diasporas, minorities, third world countries. And that is one of the things that one of the reasons why I wanted to start this YouTube channel, because YouTube reaches, and it reaches a wide variety. And so my focus will be, obviously right now, is on, football and Manchester United, but the more knowledge I gain on sports psychology, that type of stuff, I'll be able to pass that on so young athletes can gain that mental strength that they need to become the Michael Jordans of the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know you mentioned about your son trying to be into sports, so maybe I have to check out with you at 5 years to kind of see, like, hey, did he decide to go into theater or decide to go with the mom and with the with
That's
the
the
medicine?
thing. That's the thing. He won't have that decision though.
Oh yeah.
When you give him the decision, that's where you fail.
Oh,
You know what
that's
I
where
mean?
you feel?
Yeah, I'm planning on living my life through that little boy. I'm planning to be his agent.
Okay.
I'm
Because
telling you.
you don't think he's gonna resent you?
Huh?
You don't think he's gonna resent you?
Well, it's a really good question. Because I'm planning on making it fun for him. If I know he doesn't love it, then I'm not gonna obviously not force him into it. You know what I mean? And when I say that I'm planning on living my life, him obviously it's tongue in cheek, but
Right.
I want to make sure it's fun for him. And if we have that relationship of us watching the games together, playing together in the evening times, and him wanting to be around me and do stuff that I like, then yeah, I mean, if he's the type who's not going to be into that and he wants to play a piano or go do theater, maybe I might. It's going to be disappointing, but
Right.
it's nothing I can do. It's the only thing I can do is like, all right, babe, we got to make another one.
Right.
this isn't working out.
Oh man, but he could be another Chadwick Boseman. Who knows?
He could be, yes, and
Yeah.
I have no problems with that. At least I know
Okay.
I live in a penthouse somewhere in LA.
Right.
But I still would be disappointed. I don't care if he's the next if he's a black Brad Pitt.
Right.
Okay, if he's not on the field going up for a header and scoring, then I'm gonna be like, dang it.
Well, maybe he could be like DC United. Just something local. Be like, yeah, I only play on the weekends because my dad.
Right.
Right.
Just doing it because my dad wants me to.
Right.
I'll take that. I'm gonna be that parent in the stands fighting with the coach, asking him why my son is not playing. You gotta hold me back because I'm gonna punch the crap out of this coach because he has no idea what he's doing. I want to be able to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll keep up. We'll keep up with you in 5 years, right? How old is he
Right.
now?
It's 2.
2.
Yeah.
Okay, seven's a good year.
7 is definitely a good year. By that time, he's able to. By that time, you might think he's able to make his own decisions. Might. Yeah. Should be able to pay rent by that time too.
All right. So, for the people that are out there that are engaged right now and planning on getting married, what do you have to say for them?
Oh,
Or
marriage.
what advice? What advice would you give?
Marriage is a beautiful thing. You have to want to be committed to someone. You have to want, because it's not just the sexual attraction that you have to someone, but it's knowing that you can trust this person with whatever you have, right? You have to want that. And if you don't want that, then it could quickly and easily fail. I'm not going to be able to tell you something that you haven't heard before, but what I can tell you is when it comes to being married, you have to be able to communicate and communicate vulnerably. And by that, I mean complete and open, honest communication about what you want. You cannot be ashamed, to be able to tell your wife or your husband whatever that is on your mind. Okay. And I think I heard this analogy before I got married, and that's something that I thought was funny at the time. But if she looks just as beautiful on the toilet as she did the night before, then you should marry her. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I'm just saying, if she looks just as beautiful as she did the night before while she's on that toilet, then you know that's the right one.
Okay.
Just putting it out here.
Any financial advice for these folks too while they're having this this vulnerable, intimate moment?
Right. Man, financial advice. Know the value of your money. Know the value of your money. I'm not talking about time value of money and how much it worth last year as opposed to how much it's worth this year, but know the value of your funds and what your work is worth. You know what I mean? If you're able to get yourself in a position where your work, your time is valuable, you should be able to be utilizing that and utilizing it to the best of your ability. Remember, I said earlier that money is too hard to come by for me to just give it away.
Yeah.
You invest in yourself for the future. You don't just buy a house because you need a roof over your head. You buy a house so that you can gain wealth for your future, right? If you need a roof over your head, you can just as easily rent and pay and give someone else the wealth that you're doing. You know what that they're gaining. So, value your money, value your time as money, and you'll be able to invest in yourself, which would mean you're investing in your family as well in your future.
Got it. Love it, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're down to the final 4 questions. Number 1, what does wealth mean to you?
To me, wealth is being able, and I know I've alluded to it a couple of times, but having the ability to pass down to your offspring, not just your blood, not just your good looks, but having something of worth, tangible worth that you could pass down to your offspring. So when you die, you've left something that they could then use to set them ahead or give them ahead. That's what wealth really is to me.
All right. So question number 2, what is your favorite financial book or non-financial book?
I would say my favorite non-financial book will be The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. That book has taught me a lot, and I'm still going through it right now. But it's basically depicts the institutional ills that we as Black people go through, especially Black men in our society right now, that we have to navigate every day just to become successful. And we're already playing behind the 8 ball. And this book is very popular. It's been around for a while, but The New Jim Crow is definitely my favorite book.
Got it. So what is your worst job?
Oh, my worst job I've ever been, I was a Starbucks team lead at Target. Yeah, I was a supervisor for that Starbucks section at Target. This was like 2014 or something like that. And my word, I had already graduated with an undergrad degree. I was doing my master's. I just recently got my green card, so I was working at Target as a Starbucks team lead, and by God, it was horrible. You think customer service is bad? Well, try customer service with people who want coffee. Okay.
So what did you like? I know it's your worst job, but what did you learn from it though?
I gained invaluable management skills and professional personable skills. Meaning, I was able to reach out and deal with people from a wide variety of backgrounds. I was able to manage situations that meant that I was dealing with someone who was grumpy, who didn't have his coffee at 7 a.m. in the morning, to someone who was crying because their parents died a day ago.
For some coffee?
No, so yeah, they wanted to get coffee, but they were at my counter crying tears because they lost parents, both their parents, and so you deal with people, different situations, which set me up very nicely for my next job, which was with Enterprise, who I eventually became a branch manager, and this was still in customer service world. So dealing with employees, individuals, etc. So that was even though it was by far my worst job, and I was happy that I was walking out, it was invaluable in terms of the experience that I got.
Good. Man, you always seems like you always look at the best of the opportunities that you come across.
100%.
So, all right, last question. What is your favorite pastry?
What's my favorite pastry?
Yep.
Oh man, I don't really do pastries. I don't do pastries.
Y'all do pa-
But I would say, because can we switch it up a little bit? I can tell you my favorite food.
There you go.
I tell you my favorite food because I don't really do pastries, man.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. But I'm gonna introduce your I'm gonna introduce your audience to dumplings, yams, and curry chicken. So boiled dumplings, boiled yams, and curry chicken, the Jamaican style, and boiled bananas. So you can put boiled bananas in there. And I'm not talking about ripe bananas. I'm talking about boiled green bananas. So don't give me that look. Okay. If you guys hear this out there, whoever's listening to this, don't go out there and boil ripe bananas. It's not a thing. It's boiled green bananas, boiled yams, and dumplings and curry chicken. That is my favorite meal.
All right, you're gonna have to probably send me that recipe so I can add it to the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
All right. So, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh man. So I'm on Twitter at officially Rome. Instagram officially underscore Rome. You can go on YouTube. The YouTube channel is called The Fourth Official. Again, all you football fans out there, if you're looking for football content, I'm biased towards Manchester United, and I still talk crap about other teams and about the Prem. So if you want to hear banter about your team, or if you want to support Manchester United, come on over and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.
All right, Ron. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an honor to have you on the show, and again, thank you for your service. I know that it's not easy to do, and obviously, this is something that you love to do. So I want to again say thank you for being out there and doing everything that you're doing. I know it sounds like very repetitive, but it is honestly it's an honor to serve the country in the way that you're doing it. So
Appreciate it, man. We're out there during COVID, and it was fun serving people in Maryland. It was really nice. So I appreciate that.
it's good. Well, that concludes this episode of About That Wallet. I hope this topic was helpful. If you want to get the latest episodes, please subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. Remember, it is your duty to know about that wallet. Take care, be safe. I'm out. Peace.